lesson. My lesson was for a 4th grade class. It was a class that I previously observed in, and I asked the teacher's permission to do an assignment with her class. It's basically a unit consisting of 3 days, and it's a a literature assignment, basically reading a story called Cendrillon. I'm not sure if you've heard it before. It's a Caribbean princess story. So it's similar to Cinderella. It's like an alternative Cinderella story that brings in different cultures. So there's a lot of different Cinderella stories out there. And this one is an assigned unit that is it for 4th grade. It's like a mandatory thing. So I decided to take that on. And the students that I worked with were some students that were kind of falling behind. So they're the students that are in a program that is for English language learners, or ones that are a little bit, falling behind and doing bad. So I took those students, there were about 6 of them, and I pulled them aside. I took them to the computer lab with her permission, so that way I could do some of this stuff, since they didn't have really any computers in the classroom other than one that they use for their testing. So the first day I went over, I found a video, and I found some videos on YouTube. So there's like a part 1 and a part 2, which is somebody that's reading the story and they're showing all the pages. So it was a very well done series. It was 2 videos. Each of them were about 7 minutes. So total time watching the videos was about 14 minutes long. And after that, I had a Quizlet. So I'll just show you right here. You guys could see what I'm showing online, right? Are you guys able to see what I'm showing online?
If you do a screen share.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and do the screen share. How do I do that? I think I do it on the left-hand side, right?
Yeah, the top left is the screen share.
The which one?
Like the top left, that green box. Mine has a green box that says screen share.
Okay.
I don't know if yours does.
I'm trying to see if I could find that right now. Oh, there we go. Okay, so screen share. Now you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, can you see now? Let's see. So
yes.
right,
yes.
You can see that? Okay, great. So I found some things on Quizlet. So I had them after they watched the videos. So the videos look like this. They're on YouTube. And it turns the pages, and it's reading very animated, the story, and there's a part 1 and a part 2. Then there were some flashcards afterwards that I had them work on here. And so it basically went through different terms that were discussed in the story, the different, like, you guys used Quizlet before?
No.
No? Okay. So under the flashcards, it has a term here, and then you could have them flip the card by pressing the space bar, and it'll tell them what it is. Also, I had them play around with, this is really good for the English language learners on this lesson. If they look up a term right here, there were about 12 terms, and you could press the audio and it'll read it to them.
In a grumpy or grouchy way.
So that's really good for the English language learners.
That's good.
And I had them play around with some of these things here, the flashcards, the ones that I just showed you, the audio. There's also spelling, and it includes audio on that as well. There's a match game where they have to drag the terms over to the descriptions, and once it does, it'll get rid of it, and you try to clear the screen. It's kind of a little game. So that's what
I've used Quizlet before, and I used it to study for my CSETs and my RECA. But I can definitely see it being a great tool for students as well. You're right, especially for ELL students.
Yeah, I thought it was really great, and I looked up on Quizlet to see if they had anything on this story, And they did. They had a lot of stuff, so I was very happy with that.
Wow.
So that's basically what I did on the first day. The second day, I found an ebook, and I went through it with them. I read it aloud and tried to have them follow along on screen on the computers in the computer lab. But we had trouble kind of syncing that up between everybody because the pages take kind of long to load. So that was one of the things that wasn't very successful. After reading it aloud to them, I had them go back into Quizlet and do some more of these games, playing these games or practicing with flashcards, and for about 10 or 15 minutes afterwards. Then, I went through a discussion with them as well, to see if they had any questions or just to discuss some of the things, the comprehension questions about the story. On the third day, then I had them read it. They have the actual book in the classroom, and that's what they usually use for this required reading. So I had them do it in groups, well, actually in pairs of 2, since there were 6 of them, 2, 2, and 2. And after that, I had a quiz that I found online on this kia.com. There's a comprehension test on this story. The story's not that long. It's probably about 13 actual pages. It's 24 pages long, but most of it's pictures. There's a little bit of text on about 13 pages, but it's not like heavy reading. It's something that you could do in one day. So that's why I was able to go through the story so quickly with them. And then these comprehension questions I saved for the end, so they could do this online, and then you could have the quiz, have them end the quiz, and then get a grade on their performance for that. So basically that's what I did as far as their lesson went. And so the things that worked were watching the videos. They were very engaged watching the YouTube videos. Also the Quizlet, some of the things like the flashcards, they enjoyed doing that. They didn't really, we had trouble, like I said, with the ebook, so that's one of the problems that we had, and that's something that I would change, probably not doing the ebook next time, because we were out of sync on that. And also, as far as their reaction went, they were very engaged, as I mentioned. But when I was doing the reading on the third day, on the second day when I was doing that, they were kind of losing focus because they were having a tough time keeping up with me when I was switching the pages. And this text is a little bit difficult for people that are falling behind because there's a lot of French words in it because it's Caribbean. And so it was difficult in a lot of spots. So I tried to help them on the third day with a lot of those things, and just giving them a lot of help and answers on terms and comprehension questions. We went over stuff before I actually gave them this quiz right here that I showed you on the kia.com. So it kind of helped that we had some time to go over that before we did that. But that's about it. I thought it was pretty successful overall, but there are some things that I would change next time. So that's it for me. Who would like to go next?
Yeah, sounds good. I'll go next.
Okay.
Good job, Elizabeth. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see. Oh, there's me. Do we have to get it back from the screen share?
I'll stop screen sharing.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So let's.
There we go.
Then you could screen share if you want to.
Okay. So I teach geometry in Algebra 1, but I guess this is just going to focus on my geometry lesson that I taught. So it's mostly 10th grade students, and my lesson was on a triangle inequality theorem. So pretty much the idea that the two sides the two shorter sides of a triangle need to be longer when added together than the longest side. So that's what I did my lesson on. I have this Mobi wireless tablet that I use. So it projects like my writing onto the screen. So I have this big projector that the kids look at while I'm doing my work, and I stand in the back of the class and I pretty much do it on this wireless board, which is really nice because I'm able to kind of see over the class while I'm doing my lessons. I pretty much do direct instruction. So I'll do an example, and then they'll do a practice problem. But the board's really nice because it has a bunch of different colors, and I can use different shapes, and it's really good for a math teacher. So that's a part of my technology that I use. I also showed a video on the triangle inequality theorem that was just a really simple breakdown of how the two sides need to be longer than the third. And then I guess if you guys, I won't show the whole thing, but just to do a little screen share. Let's see. Can you guys see what I'm looking at?
Yes.
But anyway, I just had this little video right here. Good, this is gonna look. But it's kind of slow, so I guess this is one of the things I didn't love about it. I'll turn the sound off. But basically right here, it just goes through the triangle inequality thing, the sum of any two sides of a triangle. It shows the two sides, it adds them together, and it shows that it needs to be greater than the third side. So I like the video the way it broke it down, but it was a little slow. Like you can kind of see it does that, it puts them together, and then it brings down the other side and shows that they're longer. So I don't know. It was a good thing, but it was a little like, okay, like it's only like 2 minutes long, and by the end of it, you're like, okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. So that's only one small thing that I didn't love. I'd probably find a different video if I did it again. So let me see. Let me go back. Stop. All right. So yeah, that was good. We did some practice problems, and they seemed to understand that. After that, I went on to some more like difficult concepts using that same theorem. That's when I maybe had some of my, I don't know, my lower students having a little bit trouble understanding. Need to explain like the problems, but there were some difficult problems that I probably could have gone over on an additional day. I just didn't have an additional day to do it. So, yeah. Overall, I feel like it went pretty well there. So let me see if I'm covering all the questions here. Yeah, I feel like it was fairly effective. The student reaction was good. They seemed to enjoy the video, even though it did kind of drag on towards the end. Like I said, what I would change is possibly find a little bit more interesting, faster paced video. And then if I had another day to go over that particular subject, I would have liked that, though I didn't have one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was my lesson.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you. Okay, I'm up. I don't have the screen sharing, so I'm just going to show you my laptop. I'm on my phone, so I can't do it. Okay, alrighty. So one of the programs that we use is called Myon, and it has a lot of the AR books that the school district, and first of all, I teach special education grades kinder through third grade, so I have different levels. And although I do a lot of small groups, I'll do large group instruction, usually with reading and math, and usually like, so it'll kind of vary. I'll even do it with science, or I'll do art or something. So this is just kind of a sample. Everybody will be on the rug, and I have this electronic book that plays on the projector. I'll just play a sample of it, and it highlights the words as it reads it. And here you're able to pause it, do anything that you need to do class discussions.
The North Police Reindeer Games by Scott Sonneborn, illustrated by Omar Lozano.
Here's like
The North Police. Unknowing beliefs are the elves who solve crimes.
Kind of how it highlights it.
These are their
Oh,
stories.
yeah.
Okay.
So they can
that
follow
helps a
along.
lot with students that are learning to read, because I have some students who can read and some students who can't. So we do that one to read, to get engaged with students. It's something that has animations, it's read to them, has intonation, it highlights the words, everybody can follow along, so I like that one. And then after that, we will do a quiz on it. So we would read that book as a class, and I would periodically stop and basically ask the questions, ask students questions to check for understanding. And then I'll kind of show you guys what the quiz looks like. We would take a quiz exactly on that book. And this right here is Renaissance Learning. So I've used Mayan as the electronic book that reads it out loud. It's a program for the students. They can all access this on their Chromebooks as well. Oh, it says student may not log in outside of the school network. Let's see if I could do it under administrator. Okay. So I like this because as students read, and then even my students who are at a higher level, they can get on their Chromebooks and they can go ahead. They can log in and they can go ahead and find I'll give them the test number, and then they'll go ahead and they'll find the quiz. This is the administrator, so it won't show, but logging into the student, it'll take them directly to the quiz, and it'll say, I was read to, I read it by myself, it'll give them something like that, and then it has 5 questions on it, assessing their knowledge and reading comprehension on it. And what I like about that one is that number one, they're engaged, especially with the Mayan, and everybody's able to participate. They like the graphics, they like, especially being with special ed, and 90% of my class are on the spectrum for autism. Anything with technology, with animations, graphics, it's very engaging for them, so I like to use it a lot in my classroom. And then we take the tests, and there I'm able to work with the ones who need help, and then the ones who don't need help they still read the same book that we did, and they're able to move forward. For a math lesson, I have tried this, and I like to use it. It's called interactivesites.weebly.com. I would give everybody a whiteboard, the entire class, and then I would go ahead and start the game. And it's just basic addition. Like I said, I have kindergarten through 3rd graders in there. It has 3 different levels, and it's just an opportunity where they're engaged. Everybody gets to participate. Everyone's practicing, how to write their numbers. They get to learn from each other. They get to look to their peers. So it's just a really engaged environment where they get to learn, and it's pretty exciting. So here the problem would come up, and it would say, like, 2 plus 1. And I'd be like, all right, guys, 2 plus 1, use your number lines, or use your fingers. And right now, at this moment, everybody's writing on the board. When it's on your board, I want you guys to hold it up, and let's see. And then they get to check each other's. And then I'm like, okay, I see that everybody has a 3. Let's see if it's 3. And then the girl gets to run through it. And then here comes the next problem. So that's basically that. So those are some of the technology I like to use daily. And I find that my students, number one, are very engaged. They like to learn with technology. I've tried lessons where I'm using the whiteboard and doing your traditional teaching, and when I compare that to teaching with technology, for my students on the spectrum, they're just a lot more engaged with utilizing technology. If I could change something about it, I know I've done that same game where I didn't use the whiteboards, and it was kind of, give me your, what's your answer, or, hold it up on your hands, and it wasn't as engaging, so then I incorporated the whiteboards, and that was a lot more effective, because those who are antsy and can't sit in their seats, they have something to hold, they have something tangible, so it kind of helps them. What else? Overall, they were just engaged. It was pretty effective. They ended up really learning a lot and enjoying it, and I got positive feedback. It was something that they wanted to do again. So that's my portion.